Good morning, everyone. This is your host, Piyush Chandak, and today I welcome you all to this Know Your IEEE webinar series organized by IEEE Student Branch, Acropolis Institute. The webinar series is being conducted from 1st to 5th of March, and we have some amazing speakers who will be sharing their experience about IEEE and the benefits of being an IEEE member. As our speaker today, we have with us Mr. Aravindhan Anbazhagan, founder of Edurise Global and chair of IEEE Madras Young Professionals. Now, I would like to invite Dr. S.C. Sharma, Director, Acropolis Institute, to kindly welcome our audience and share his words of wisdom. Sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chandak. A very warm good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I, on behalf of Institute and on my own behalf, welcome you all with great respect and love in this webinar on Know Your IEEE, which is being organized by IEEE Student Branch of Acropolis under the patronage of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department. We, as Acropolis Institute, were established in the year 2005 with an objective to create and provide state-of-art management and technical education facilities in Indore. Acropolis strives to instill future nation builders with high skills, knowledge, and expertise for better productivity and economic upliftment of the society. At this junction, I'm really very happy to share with you that the BTech course of Electronics, Computer Science, and Mechanical are NBA accredited, which is a hallmark of quality education. The institute has a position among the top 50 institutes of India in prestigious ARIA ranking. We also received topmost platinum rating in AICTE CIS survey, which is an indication of a strong industry connect. And we also received 5-star rating in Institution Innovation Council, IIC, by Ministry of Education, Government of India. The AITR, IEEE Student Branch, is one of the bodies led by bright students, where the students engage in technical and research-oriented activities and try to build connections with the global community of IEEE members. It is a dynamic group which is driven by our students and display their academic and leadership skills along with their readiness to connect with the growing world of technology. I am sure this webinar will definitely prove to be very useful to all the participants who are planning to be a part of global community and platform being provided by IEEE. I welcome and thank all the resource persons for their kind consent to accept our invitation and spare their valuable time to share their knowledge and experience with the participants. Now, without taking much of your time so that we can listen and learn from today's expert, Mr. Aravindhan, I appreciate the efforts made by Professor Chandrawat, Professor Gaurav Chaitanya, Office Bearers of the Student Chapter, Branch, and the entire EC department to organize this program. Last but not the least, I am thankful to the management of Acropolis for their continual encouragement and support for organizing such important programs. I am sure all the participants would take maximum benefit of this program. With these words, I once again welcome you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such a wonderful start. And I'm sure our participants would be thrilled to know more about our session. And now I would like to invite HOD EC Department, Dr. UBS Chandrawat, to kindly inform us more about our student branch and the Electronics and Communication Department.
Thank you, Piyush. Good morning, everyone. Today is our guest, Mr. Aravindhan, Director AIT, Sharma sir, faculty members, IEEE student officials, and my dear students. First of all, I congratulate IEEE student officials and faculty coordinator, Professor Gaurav Chaitanya, for conducting a 5-day webinar series with an agenda, Know Your IEEE. This is really an important topic as young students are not much aware about one of the world's oldest professional society, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. With a network of around 5 lakh members, this society is spread in over 160 countries. IEEE Student Branch of Acropolis of Technology and Research is a vibrant student branch striving for overall professional development of the students. On regular basis, IEEE Student Branch conduct the professional activities. They call the experts from the industry, academicians from the Institute of National Repute. They also call young entrepreneurs to deliver workshops, expert talk, and seminars. I would like to apprise you about some of major activities organized by IEEE Student Branch. They have conducted a leadership talk series. Under that, leaders of national level had delivered the sessions. Under entrepreneurship talk, they invited Mr. Anil Khasgiwala, Director, Apolto Electronics Private Limited. He apprised students about different challenges in entrepreneurship. They also organize industrial visits time to time. A workshop on design thinking organized under the guidance of Dr. B.T. Ruhulla Rao, scientist RRK Indore. An innovators talk delivered by young entrepreneur Mr. Mudit Thakkar. They have conducted a very informative 5 days industrial conclave on the scope of innovations in electronic sector for Atmanirbhar Bharat. They also provide opportunity for internship to the students, and under the banner of IEEE Student Chapter, students have published so many papers in IEEE conferences. So IEEE Student Chapter is quite vibrant, putting sincere effort for the overall professional development of the students. Now about Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, as Director Sir informed, our department is NBA accredited department. We are among the very few department of MP, EC department specifically, which is NB accredited. So we are following international level academic practices. This is standardization of academic practices. We have been working with academic practice of project-based learning. We have developed so many real-life projects. One of our most important projects that we have developed is a humanoid robot installed at Indore Airport. Since last 2 years, we have been maintaining that robot and updating that robot. So it's real great achievement of our students. And very soon we are going to develop, it's in process, very soon we are going to install a humanoid robot to control the traffic, and that would be low cost, very low cost and low maintenance robot. So these are just few important projects our students are doing. Apart from that, and so many real life project students are working. So today it's not an occasion for me to talk much, because we all are waiting to listen to our guest. So, and apart from this, just one more important information I would like to share with you. Apart from this webinar series that is going to start from today, on the occasion of International Women's Day, IEEE Student Chapter is going to organize the IEEE International Women Leadership Summit 2021. It is going to start from 8th March to 10th of March. In that event, women speakers from various countries of the Asia Pacific region will deliver the talk. So it's really great achievement of our IEEE Student Chapter, which is in its fancy stage to go for an international event. So my best wishes to IEEE student officials and faculty coordinator for upcoming events. Thank you so much. Over to you, Piyush.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for motivating all our team members of the student branch, and as well as our audience for the start of our session. And since it's our day one of the session, I would like to inform the reason why we chose this topic as our inaugural event for this year. Since sir already informed, we have had 2 industrial conclaves. So this year we wanted to start on the note of what IEEE actually is as an organization, and what are the benefits of IEEE of being a member, be it in research or academics or in technical and non-technical aspects. So to inform about that, we have a wonderful speaker today, Mr. Aravindhan. And Mr. Aravindhan is the co-founder of a virtual online education-based startup, which is having a dream of revolutionizing the education industry in India. He is the founder of EduRise Global. He's also been a member of Teach for India, which is an initiative to teach the underprivileged children, and he has taught for several years the students of nursery and class 4th and 5th. And he has also been a very active volunteer in IEEE and received numerous national awards and international awards as well. And we are very proud to inform you that he has also been a part of a TEDx event. He is an ex-TEDx speaker, and he has been featured in various online media sites such as the News Express and in various different channels such as NDTV. Sir, we are very glad to have you amongst us today. I would like to kindly take you over the session and proceed with the topic of today.
All right, I think first of all, thank you so much, Piyush, for that. This is my real glad and pleasure to be a part of this specific event organized by IEEE Student Branch of Acropolis Institute of Technology and Research. My thanks and my regards to Professor S.C. Sharma and Dr. Uday Banu for joining us today. And it was really interesting and lovely to hear about your institution, your student branch, your activities. Right, I think that's wonderful. I would love to keep on hearing more about the story, and definitely would like to visit in person sometime soon as well. So thanks to the volunteers, Piyush, Kush, Ambika, they've been wonderful. I mean, I'm saying all these things in the beginning because like in a virtual event, the beginning is where all the Josh is, right? So they are the people who, who has actually reached out proactively. They started doing all these things. This is wonderful. This is a great initiative, and I wish them all the very best. So on that note, I'm going to get started with the session right away. So there'll be.
Sir, I'll share your presentation, and I think it is visible.
Perfect.
Yes,
All right.
Okay.
All right. So you can see two images on the screen, right? You should be able to see two images on the screen. Unfortunately, I think I won't be able to see the comments. But what are the words that comes to your mind? Maybe Piyush can read it out for me. When you see these two images, what are the words that are coming to your mind instantly, like one words?
I think it relates something to vision or success, dreams, just a sort of motivation.
Okay. Okay.
I think I just ask the participants to.
Yeah, if there are any interesting thoughts from participants, you can also share that with me as well.
Yeah.
We see two interesting images, right?
Yes, yes. A person holding binoculars, and on the other side, a man standing on a cliff.
So, okay, that's very straightforward. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Any other interesting?
Motivation and success.
Motivation and success. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. All right. I think the reason why I chose these two images as the first slide, right, as the opening slide to show in front of all of you is that there's a specific reason for the topic that we're also covering today, right? In anything in life, whatever we do, right, we always initially search for opportunities. We feel like, okay, what are the opportunities am I getting? How can I find it? Like all these things. And then there'll be a point where you feel like, okay, so this is something that I can do easily. This is something that I can do quite, I really enjoy the journey, and then I'm reaching on the top of it. So there's always these two parts. And then what is the thing that we will be covering today is what is in the middle, right? If you are someone who's a professional, if you are someone who's a student who aspires to do more things with IEEE, if you want to do enhance your professional career, you will always have these two things, like from one side and the other. And what do you do in between? So that's what we'll be covering today. And thank you so much for engaging on the conversation, and also sharing your responses as well. Please keep it going. The way that is structured, this talk is going to be, there'll be very limited set of presentation, maybe for 20-25 minutes. And then of course we can do a Q&A where I can definitely engage with questions on you live. That will make it more interesting, right? So, all right. So before I start off, there's another thing that I wanted to share. I am part of the IEEE Young Professionals community. I think you heard a lot about IEEE Student Branch, right? What are the activities of IEEE Student Branch from Dr. Uday Banu sir? The interesting thing is IEEE is one of such societies which also offers you opportunities even after you graduate, right? So many people come and ask me, hey, what is the difference between IEEE and let's say a music club? All right, let's say a music club. What are the differences? Now, one of the differences I would definitely say is IEEE as a student member, you're just starting off. It's not like your ultimate point, right? You're just starting off as a student member, and what really happens is you get to grow more and more and more with the organization as you grow, right? And the moment you graduate from your college, till the first 15 years, you are part of the IEEE Young Professionals community. You can know more about them by visiting this website. I've been with this community for around 5 years, and currently I am part of the Global Young Professionals team as the YP Impact blog editor. and I also lead the Madras Young Professionals community. So I thought of telling it to you guys, like IEEE is not only limited for students, and that is a huge set of opportunities even after you graduate. So that's the first thing. The second thing I also want to talk about is my own startup, which is something that I started, I think, around 10 months ago with an idea of providing quality online education for everyone, and also in the best possible way and for free, right? So we started a YouTube channel. I'll definitely share the link of the YouTube channel. Maybe when I complete the presentation, I can share it and then I can show it to you guys. So we are creating content on all the languages, hopefully a lot more content on Hindi, to actually to reach out to a lot more people, right? The idea is that to make education more accessible for everyone, right? Language shouldn't be a barrier for anyone to learn. So we are creating content. I am from Tamil Nadu, so I create a lot of content on Tamil as well. So this is something that I also wanted to share with you. This is something that I'm working on full time. So I was previously, as Piyush was saying, I was working with Teach for India for 4 years, and then I started this thing. So yeah, requesting a support for this, and let's get started. So you might have a lot of questions on mine. So let me clear out these things first, right? So I think the topic for today is funds, scholarships, awards, grants, all this information. Okay, so let me clarify what these things mean in real time. All right. First thing is grants. Can I ask the audience, maybe Piyush can read it out for me, what is meant by grants, or Piyush can share his perspective as well. What is meant by grants?
I think we can wait for the audience to respond and just.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think are grants?
Just a second. I think we'll get the responses. I have posted the question. What is meant by grants?
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. So in the meanwhile, I think grants are basically the kind of support that you get from a higher institution. So let's say if you are a group, maybe a IEEE group, so you'll get a grant from the international organization, and for the kind of activities, student activities you're doing, or either case if you are a college, so you get a grant for research and things like that.
Wonderful. Was there any other responses that we received?
Grants are a sort of funds that the institutions receive. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So see, everything is fund, right? If you look at it, for example, seed grant is a fund, scholarship is a fund, grant is a fund. Like there's so many funds. Basically, these are all offered for some like something that you're showing, right? Some accomplishment you're showing. But what is very unique about grants are funding that are offered for a specific purpose, which is yet to be completed. All right. So if you really look at it, let me take 2 examples for you. I think Piyush was talking about research grant. There's also a lot of project grants. Okay, even IEEE offers a lot of project grants, especially on humanitarian front. If you are doing a project, Piyush, I'm also getting some kind of a noise. I think. Okay. Yeah. Now it's clear. So the thing is, grants are offered for specific purpose that's yet to be completed. Let's say if you are receiving a project grant, right? The idea is the organization, whomever is granting, in this case IEEE, expects you to do that activity and then submit a project report, right? So grants are provided usually, let's say if they're providing $4,000 to you. Initially, they will be granting $2,000. You have to complete the activity and then you have to submit the bills. You have to submit the impact report. They'll give you another $2,000. So grants always work in this way. It's something that has to be done. So you are receiving the grant towards doing this. So it's more towards supporting you to make that initiative to bring it alive. From my experience, there's also other set of grants which are known as travel grants, right? IEEE used to provide a lot of travel grants before COVID. Now travel is not possible, right? So there'll be a lot of travel grants where you have to do the travel. You have to complete the purpose. You will be attending an event or a conference or doing like any kind of an engagement, and then you come back and do a reimbursement. So it's always like you have to complete a purpose. Grants are granted in advance, so you do that purpose, you do that specific task, and then you come back and receive that amount. So that's the overall broader definition of grants. We will deep dive into them more, maybe talking very specifically about what are there in IEEE. But there's so much of grants available at IEEE, guys, especially on humanitarian front, especially if you're doing a new initiative. So there's so many grants. Yeah. The second thing is scholarships. I think so many people have, I mean, ever since our childhood, we always hear this, right? There's so many scholarships which are available. The very interesting thing about scholarships are they're not grants or they're not awards. Scholarships are something that that you receive as a token of your good work. At the same time, they also have something that follows them, right? You don't necessarily receive a scholarship and then you don't have a follow-up. Then there's always some kind of follow-up. I think on very specific scholarship, for example, let me say about the Richard E. Mervyn Scholarship, which is provided by IEEE Computer Society, right? So it is a scholarship that's provided for, I think, 40 student volunteers, very active student volunteers around the globe every year. And once you receive the scholarship, you also serve as the regional student ambassador. Like you serve as the Asia Pacific student ambassador of IEEE Computer Society for the next 10 months, right? For the next, I think, 10 to 12 months. Okay, so the idea is you receive a scholarship and then you also take up a responsibility. So scholarships usually work in that way. Like, for example, if somebody is offering you a scholarship on an education front, like, for example, doing a very recently, I was just reading about one of the very popular scholarships for electrical students who are doing master. So this is offered by IEEE. They are providing you $10,000. The expectation is that they will pay it to you on with the university, but the idea is you have to complete that specific year with a really I mean, good academic performances, right? So scholarships are always combined with some responsibilities, but you can definitely do it, right? But at the same time, you also need to do some like pre-work before getting the scholarship. So that's always there. The third thing are awards. So this is very different from grants and scholarships because awards in a way are token of appreciation or recognition that you receive once everything is completed, right? Once you do the specific activity, successfully completed it, I would say on a better way, in an effective way, in a way that really stood out, then you receive an award. So awards are usually not something like it always has a responsibility or some post work. It's always like, I would say, like towards the end, right? You can always apply for the award. So that's how it happens. But awards are always not the end point, right? So once you do that, it's a recognition that you receive for the work that you have done so far, and you have to also continue doing the good work. So that's the whole idea. It's to motivate you. So these are the three differences. If you look at grants, they are provided for a specific purpose with an something that's yet to be completed, right? Scholarships are always attached with some responsibilities or some things that has to be done, but you also did some good work in the beginning. And awards are always things like you receive once you complete a good work. So these are the three differences. I thought of clarifying it to you before we get started, right? All right, so how to apply for a grant or a scholarship or an award? Okay, so I'm showing you 4 pictures. So these pictures exactly resembles the process that I would recommend all of us to do when we are applying for anything. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a guess. What is the first picture? This is a very similar picture that you saw on the first slide, but anyways, I'm asking. Piyush, if there are any interesting responses, you can read it out, or you can read out all the responses. What's the first picture over here?
First picture. I'm waiting for the responses.
Okay.
Someone says exploration.
Exploration, wonderful. Okay.
A telescope. So I guess
Telescope.
finding
Okay.
the stars. Finding the stars.
Okay. Finding the stars. Okay, that's wonderful. Come on, guys.
Looking into the unknown.
Looking into the unknown. That's wonderful. All right, so I'm going to reveal it to you.
Research. Okay.
Research. Okay. You'll get to guess the other things. Okay, so don't worry. So let me show the first one. The first one is identify. All right. You can't apply to all the scholarships. You can't apply to all the awards in the world, right? The reason is every award or every scholarship has a criteria. All right. So some awards are very specific for student members. So if you graduate, you can't be applying for that. At the same time, some awards are established for research professionals, right? The first thing is to identify what is something that's relevant to you. Okay. That's the most important step I would say, especially in an organization like IEEE, where there are so much of opportunities, so much of awards, scholarships, all this information, right? But they're very specific for specific purposes. Like for example, something that Power and Energy Society offers, it can be very specific for electrical students, right? Versus whatever that Communication Society offers could be for electronics and communication folks. So it is very specific. It is based on research area as well as it is based on your own eligibility, right? In terms of your strengths, your I think your positive
Profile.
aspects. So that's how it is. So that's the first picture. Any guesses on the second picture? Once you identify what is something that you should be doing.
I'm waiting for the responses.
Sure. Take it.
Okay. We've got research again.
The second picture, guys. You can see something.
Our participants are very keen to know about research.
Okay.
Vision. Okay.
Vision. Okay.
Okay. And
guys, text in different colors. That's a clue.
preparation, planning, applying.
Okay, very similar. Very similar.
Is it highlighting or finding out the domain in which you are interested?
Okay, let's find out. Okay, I'm going to show it to you.
Information. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, the second one is decode, right? Once you saw an award, once you saw about a scholarship or a grant, it's always important to decode, right? What do I mean by decode here? So once you have done that, you can spend a good amount of time reading about the scholarship, not only from the original website, right? You can actually find out ways of connecting with people. I'll definitely share more about it. The second step is always decode. Okay, the third step is quick guesses. What are the third and fourth steps? Quickly. I think if you guess the verb that's always said during the third picture, you'll be able to understand.
I'm waiting for the responses. The direction.
Okay. What do they do once the director says
Action.
Action, right? The third step is action. Identifying it, decoding it, action. And what's the final one?
Okay, the final one. And we have some responses. I think it's related to an application.
Yes, very similar. The final one is reflection. All right. So you identify something, you decode it, you try to act, and then you also try to reflect. Let's find out what are these four things mean in the next few slides. All right. Thank you for sharing your responses. So this is always a question that I ask. Do you know how to search? Okay, so people always say yes to this. I can search to Google, I can search to Bing, whatever platform that I am comfortable with. But if you really look at it, you have to be, you have to be somewhat unique in your search. This will help you to identify the right set of opportunities in itself, right? You can't apply for an award that you don't know about. Okay, so here are some tips that I would definitely recommend to you. Be very specific, right? If you are searching for an about an opportunity, be very specific. Ask like, what are the opportunities for an electrical student who is in the final year? Now that is very specific, right? Search for such opportunities about you under the category you belong to. And if you are, let's say you are doing a research project, all right, find out what's the research area you are working on. Let's say if it's industrial automation, search about that specific thing. The reason why I'm saying these are very basics, right? Like if you search for broader things, you will get broader results. Again, that will be very hard. So be very specific. The second is search on multiple platforms. Search engines are not the only place, guys. you have LinkedIn, you have Facebook, you have so many places. What I used to do is I'll always go and search scholarship on LinkedIn. Okay, now I get to see updates from people who have won the scholarship about their experience. Now that's great, right? Once you do that, you can even connect with them, you can get to know them better. Now that will come to the decode part. Okay, the idea is once you search on multiple platforms, you get to know about more opportunities better, in a better way. Yeah, the third thing is be ambitious. So don't restrict yourself to things like, okay, I can do only things at in my state level, or I can do things at my national level. Always aspire for global level, and that is being really ambitious, right? You can definitely do this. Every year there is some person who's winning an award, who's winning a scholarship. Now that person can be you. So don't think about, okay, will I be possible, will that be eligible for me? Be always ambitious and try out your best. Yeah, so people always appreciate that, whether you win or I mean, I wouldn't say use the word lose here, because you always learn. Either you win or you learn. Okay, so you can be ambitious. And to make things very easy for you, to finding opportunities in IEEE easy for you, on May, myself along with two volunteers, Ankita and Chakravarti, we have penned down this blog. So you can find this on my LinkedIn. I can definitely share the link of this maybe towards the end of the, I mean, once the live session is over, I can share it on the comments. Now this specific, or can I also share, show it on the screen now?
I'll share the link.
Okay, you can share it, right? That's wonderful. So just go to my LinkedIn profile and then you'll be finding it on the article. If you really look at it, you will be scrolling. There are so much of opportunities. I think there are more than 40 to 50 of such scholarships, awards, and grants offered by all the 39 societies of IEEE within this blog. I think we actually took it as a challenge to really understand, okay, how much does IEEE provide, right? There's so much of things. We specifically learned so many things when we are doing this, right? So that's the whole idea. So read this blog. I think this will make your identify process a bit more easy. Yeah. Okay. The second question that I had for you, very similar to finding opportunities, is cracking, right? So decoding in another way. So let's say you identify about an opportunity, you have to decode it in several ways. Okay, the first thing is always talking to the people who have done that. Let's say you are applying for a research grant. Find out who are the winners of the previous years. Just try to go and approach them. Read them about read about them online. So that will help you to understand how they have done it, right? And you can also talk to them. Like for example, maybe I'll share, while sharing about one of my awards, I'll definitely share. There was no one from Asia Pacific has won that before. Okay, so then I reached out to a person who have won that in US, and you won't believe there was so much of insight that I received from that specific person, right? In terms of what's the application looking like, what are the hard points in the application, like all these things. So always crack it to the point that you can understand at a real level. So whatever that you see on website is some information, right? But once you talk with people, you get to know more things. It's also about reading about some of the experiences, blogs of other people. That will help you to crack it a bit more, right? Talking to your professors is a great way, because they understand things in a much more better way. So crack all these things. That will open up more possibilities for you. So when you thought of applying for something, always do spend some good amount of time cracking it, understanding it. Yeah, that's going to add a lot of value. The third thing is always act on time. As I told you, all these scholarships, awards, and everything has some deadline attached to it. Let's say, for example, IEEE Student Awards always have this deadline of March 31st. Okay, and if I start my preparation on March 20, of course, I won't be able to do it, or I will submit a mediocre application, which I know, like that couldn't win, right? You have to start well ahead, like maybe on a January, on a February. Always take 60 days of time for any application. Take it at a full level and then prepare it step by step. And there's also another catch to this, right? For example, if you are applying for any of these awards, they always require some kind of endorsements or recommendations. So when you are approaching people at the last minute, they might be in a place where they couldn't give. Even if they want to give, they won't be able to give. So always ask well ahead of time. That will save a lot of time and efforts for you. Now you might think like, okay, so I can do it at the last minute, but what really happens is you have to put in a lot of efforts if you're doing it on the last minute. So, but in case if you're doing it well ahead, you can do it at a much easier level at a much lesser effort. So that's what I'm trying to say. So once you start applying for so many opportunities, you have to be on time, you have to keep on track so that you could actually accomplish it, right? This is for making the application in itself. So that's a huge deal. The final step I would definitely say is reflect and document. Now, this is a huge step, right? All of us as volunteers, either in research, academia, or in IEEE, we do so many things. Okay, like for example, today I'm delivering this talk. If I delivered a talk on Saturday, I delivered a talk on last Friday, like all these times, right? And in the previous week, I delivered three talks. If I'm not noting what are the student batches that I'm delivering talks, I won't be able to reflect and write it on any document. Okay, let it be my resume, my LinkedIn, or even if I'm applying for an award, I couldn't do it. Like that's very similar to you are attending this event. You have to make a note of this event at some point. Okay, now that's where I have a very I would say a hack that I follow. One of the things that I always do is we used to use Facebook a lot during those times, right? Now I think people have shifting to Instagram, LinkedIn, so many platforms, but social media means Facebook in 2013-14. So what really happens, what will I do is for every event that I'm attending, I'll make a nice status about what is the event, what are the things that I learned, okay, and I'll post it on the same day. So what happens when I apply for an award, I always go back and refer my profiles. I'll just scroll down and then I'll be able to find, okay, so on this specific day, we attended this event. Okay, on this specific day. Now, this is not for people to like. This is not for people to drop a comment. This is not for showing off to people, hey, I'm doing this. But this is for my reference, right? Because at the end of the day, I have to prepare that nomination document or scholarship application. So for that, I need this information. So it's always important that you reflect and prepare what are the activities that you're doing, right? You can take it like every week, make a note of what are the things, or every month, make a note of all the different things that you're doing, and that will help you to document. So you need to have these key points always. So life is a continuous process and you have to make a note of what's happening. If you're writing a diary, then that's great, that's a great practice again. But making a note of these specific activities will help you get a lot of ways. Yeah, so I think this is going to be the final two slides. Before I close up, I wanted to share my own personal reflections. Till then, you have seen some of the process, some of the ideas that I've shared, right? But these are real things that I got an opportunity to do in real time, and these are going to be some of my reflections. The first and foremost, the first scholarship that I received as a student was IEEE Computer Society Richard E. Merwin Student Scholarship. So this is a picture that was taken in New Delhi, India, during the All India Computer Society Student Congress held in 2015. All right. So an interesting story about this specific scholarship is I applied for the same thing even in 2014, and then I think I didn't receive it. Yeah, there will be times where you won't receive it, right? You will fail. The point is you use that as an experience and then do a reapplication if possible, if you are still eligible, right? So always when you're failing, take that as an opportunity and then do an application again. That will be a huge experience. This is with this Merwin scholarship. I won the cash, I think the scholarship amount of $1,000. Also got an opportunity to serve as regional ambassador. I think I was saying about this, right? The second award is something that I won as MGA Larry K. Wilson Regional Student Activities Award. So this is again for student activities, but this is provided to one person across the entire Asia Pacific region, right? So this is the most competitive award I have ever applied for. And the very interesting thing is no one from Madras has won it before this was accomplished. So I was the first person from Madras section to receive it. So it was a very proud moment of doing this. Again, a very interesting thing about this specific award is I started working with my nominator, maybe I should say 45 days ahead, right? So we started working on this. He started taking a lot of time in doing it. That makes that journey is itself, I would say, an experience of an award, right? The way that you prepare an application, the way that you find out which of your work created an impact. Okay, so now that is a huge experience. So one of the learnings that for this award would be also to dream big, right? When I was first applying for this, I never thought I could win. I was from I was from a college in Chennai, and I thought how I could definitely win this. Okay, so nobody from my transaction has won it, but still being ambitious and then giving that try can help you to do that. Yeah. The third one is a very, very, very interesting and a special one, because this award is a global award which I received from IEEE Educational Activities Board. I was invited to receive this award in Canada, Vancouver. So this happened in 2018. The very interesting thing is this award, I think before me, there was always people from US, Europe, all these places winning this award. So I won this along with a person from South America. So an interesting thing is, again, like I spent a good amount of time understanding what are the awards available in IEEE educational activities, right? That's when I found out this. Okay, then I thought maybe I can apply for this. They asked me for 5 endorsements, so it took a lot of time in preparing this. A great, learning that from this specific award is you always need to keep looking at it, right? Nobody has known about this award. Nobody from a network has won it. But still, when I thought of applying for this, I spent a good amount of time understanding and decoding it. So I was also talking about the example of talking with the previous winner through LinkedIn, right? So these are some learnings. You can definitely do it. When I started my IEEE journey, I never thought, okay, I can do all these things. And apart from this, I won a number of travel grants for attending events, all these things. All these comes to one point, okay? It always seems impossible until it's done. You will be finding things real hard, right? You will think like, okay, how am I going to do this thing? So that's a great place to start, whether it is anything in life, right? Whether you're doing a final year project or applying for an award or a scholarship, it always seems impossible until it's done. Once you have done completing it, it's also same with your engineering too. Once you're done completing it, you will feel like, oh, was this the thing we are worrying about? So that will be always there. So taking this quote of Nelson Mandela and then finishing off the session, I'll also share those links. I think Piyush has helped me with sharing those things. The interesting thing is keep trying, okay? Go and give a try, apply for something, fail and then learn. If you win, that's great. If you fail, then that's wonderful too, right? So sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. This is my username. And also I'm available on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and then Twitter and LinkedIn too. So this is my handle. And of course, you can follow me on my website. So these are things that I thought of sharing to you guys before we do the Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, so I'm sure it was a wonderful session. This is what I felt, and there are so many insights that I gained. I mean, when I talk of awards and scholarships, I did not know a lot about the process. So you really simplified the whole process by just making it into 4 important points. And I'm sure our participants would be very keen to know about the awards. Now we'll proceed with the Q&A session. So I would request all the participants to shower us with all the questions they have. Any kind of queries, we'll be very happy to answer. So, okay,
Piyush, I think before also moving forward, I'll also share my YouTube channel. It would be lovely if people can go check out the channel and also hit the subscribe button. I think I'm sending you the link on the private chat. Maybe if you can also post it on the comment.
Okay, sure. I've shared your profile.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please do check out the channel and also hit the subscribe button. That will be very helpful. Yes, I think we started getting the question. That's wonderful.
Okay. Yeah. So do every society have some kind of grants, funding, and scholarship? So I think the question is related to IEEE specific.
Yeah. So Krishan, thank you for the question. So there are 39 societies, right? There are societies starting from Computer Society, Power and Energy Society, Communication Society, Computation Intelligence Society, to Professional Communication Society, which is something that's relevant to writing all this information, right? So every society has some kind of opportunities. But again, as I told you, these are very specific in nature, right? For example, people in Computation Intelligence Society might want to do something that's relevant for their members. Okay, so the idea is you need to identify what is an opportunity that's available for you, and some things come up with an eligibility. You have to be some branch student, right? You have to be a branch, you have to belong to this specific branch. So it's always important that you identify and then you do it. Yes, every society has an opportunity. I think if you guys could go to the link of the LinkedIn blog that I've written, right, you will be able to find there's so much of opportunities which are available, which is quite great, right? Yeah, that's the link. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that answers the question. Just check for your eligibility and keep looking always.
Yeah, and also new things also happen, guys. Very recently, couple of days back, we were hosting a volunteer from Educational Activities Board, and then they were starting about a new scholarship that was open out for electrical students who aspire to do masters, right? Now that's a new information. So IEEE keeps on adding all these scholarships. So always check out. Don't think like, okay, this is the end. You can always find new things that happens, and also follow social media. That's a great opportunity.
Please to start. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, can a student be provided with scholarship for research work?
Wonderful question, Abhishek. So depends on what kind of research do you want to do. So research work, I would say, comes with more of a grant. Let's say if you want to get a research grant, right? You can definitely apply through IEEE or through other organizations. Just keep it in terms of identify what are the domains you want to get into, right? Be very specific. And then once you are specific, you will be able to find so many opportunities. So there are, again, research grants which are available. So IEEE as an organization is promoting. I think you'll also find subsequent other speakers talking about this, right, in the upcoming days.
Yes.
IEEE is purely a technical plus managerial organization. So that's a huge technical aspect to it. So many people do research. So many people publish their work. So it's a place where you do research, right? So there'll be a lot of grants which are available. You can definitely check out about very specific research grants which are available through social media or also through the blog that I have written. You will be able to find. Yeah, they will provide you, but usually adding another point, Abhishek, here, the way that things works usually is students, they always get these research or grants with some affiliation, right? Either you should be affiliated with your college, or you should be affiliated with your student branch or with your professor, right? So there is a ecosystem around you which can support you in doing that. As I told you, grants are something that you have to do, which is a lot of work. Again, once you win the grant, it's not the end of it. You have to do so much of work to get the funds. So it's always important that you have an affiliation, find out the right professor, find out an entity. So in that way, I think that will be great. I think, yeah, thank you for sharing that link to IEEE Foundation grants. There's so many foundation grants. So IEEE Foundation runs through donations. So many people contribute for that, and you can find a lot of grants. As also for students, yeah, that's also available for students.
Okay. The next question is, what's in it for CSE students? Computer science.
That's wonderful, Akshat. I am a computer science student myself. So initially, when I looked at it, IEEE, I was like, okay, is it for EEE guys, electrical electronics engineers? So I always have this thing. CSE spokes, you have the largest IEEE society, right? Out of the 39, the largest IEEE society is IEEE Computer Society, okay, with more than, I think, 60,000 plus members. There is so much of scope. You can volunteer, you can get involved. Again, Richard Immerman scholarship is a part of IEEE Computer Society. Upsilon scholarship, that's a scholarship provided for academic performances, right? There's also land staff or paper contests. So there's so much of opportunities, competitions, as well as awards, scholarships available for computer science students who are interested on computing fields, right? The IEEE Computer Society is your home. So www.computer.org, if you could go to that specific link, you will be able to find more information about it. Yeah, there's so much of scope for CSE. Yes.
Okay, and I would also like to add, for all those non-IEEE members, this is a great place to just know about what IEEE is and get interested, and try to be a member as soon as possible, because this is my experience in the short time span that IEEE is a wonderful place. We have great people, a great network, and so much new things to do. You could go into research, into technical events, you could know about what's happening in the world, publish a research paper, and it's just a great place to know what's happening all around the globe. So yeah, just be a member as soon as possible. This is what I could say. The next question is, can we find whether we are eligible or not on official sites of IEEE?
Of course. Actually, so when you are looking at any site, right, the first subheading they always have is eligibility. All right, there'll be some 4 to 5 bulletin points on that saying that, okay, you have to do this, you have to have 1 year of, you have to complete 1 year of your engineering. Like there's to be some aspects to it, right? So for some awards, you can apply it only on your final 2 years. Okay, so the first part is always eligibility. Then comes the requirements. Then comes who can nominate you, all this information. I can even show it to you if I could share my screen, but anyways, if you can go to my LinkedIn article, you will always find the first thing is always eligibility. Who's it for? So that's the most important information. You can definitely find it. Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll even open that screen later on if we need it after the Q&A.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and I think there would be a common question since a lot of our participants are from BTech undergraduates. So could you just mention some of the major scholarships that are there for all our IEEE members who are in their undergraduate?
Wonderful. Okay, so especially, okay, I'll talk about maybe 2 to 3 things, right? Maybe one for the people who are who wants to volunteer more, one for the people who wants to balance their academics and volunteering, and one for the people who are completely into research, all these things, right? So I'll start with volunteering because that's my favorite. And Richard E. Mevin Scholarship, as I was telling you before, it's one of the I would say one of the most popular scholarships in IEEE. It comes with a scholarship amount of $1,000, and this always happens in 2 cycles. Okay, there's a first cycle which is on April. You can apply your application. I mean, you can submit your applications by the end of April 30. So that's the first cycle. The second cycle is towards September 30. Okay. On these 2 cycles, once you apply, you will be actually selected one among the winners of 16 to 18 people who have actually won the scholarship. And then you will be declared as a winner. As I told you, you have a great advantage of serving as a regional student ambassador of that specific computer society itself for a year. That's a huge advantage. But what are the things that you really require to win a scholarship, right? To win a study member scholarship? Your contributions, okay? Your volunteering contributions, your activities, your initiatives, your all these leadership aspects, right? That matters a lot more. A huge chunk of percentage of the overall evaluation criteria goes to that. The second is always your academic performance. Because IEEE at the end of the day is volunteering, you have to keep a good focus on your academics and then also volunteer, right? The third thing all goes into your letter of recommendation that you receive from your branch counselor or a society chapter advisor, right? And the fourth and final thing is, interestingly, goes to the non-IEEE leadership activities. What are the other things that you do apart from IEEE towards helping and empowering the society? So these are the 4 criteria that goes into the Richard E. Mevin Scholarship, and so many people have won it. And in fact, they are running global initiatives around like creating outreach for the scholarship. So many mentors are available. Like if you really look at it, so many winners in India. Okay, I think in the past, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's huge, right? So many people have won this. You can definitely, if you go to Richard E. Mevin Scholarship winner, search it on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find number of people in India who have done these things, right? So you can definitely reach out to them. And in fact, they also want to, they also open up the mentoring, all these things once in a while. I think once a scholarship term is about to come. So that's with the Richard E. Mevin Scholarship. The second is Upsilon by Epsilon. If you are someone who manages academics pretty well and also do volunteering, you can be a part of, you can apply for this specific scholarship. The interesting thing is, with Upsilon by Epsilon, your academic matters a lot more. You need to get a percentage, I think, above, they always say it in US things, right? 3 by 4. Like I think more than 75%, 80%. You can just look at the eligibility criteria on the website. But the interesting thing is, you need to have that academic criteria to apply for that specific thing, right? And also your volunteering contributions, your letter of recommendation matters a lot more. The third is Land Stafford Paper Contest, which is an outstanding paper of a student from UG, technical paper, that will receive a funding of $500. Okay, so this is again an annual award. So yeah, you can make use of all these things. Just go and find it out on computer.org website. So these are the most popular. Because I was a student from CSE, I spent a good amount of time researching about this on my UG, so I was able to share. And also Power and Energy Society has so many opportunities out there, guys. So
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, if we are not from an affiliated college, can we still claim the scholarship or
okay, that's a
scholarships?
good question. That's a good question, Hemkant. Okay. The interesting thing is, as I told you, UG students in general are always affiliated with some entity, right? The reason why I would tell you the purpose and then I'll answer this question, right? The reason why they want to add an affiliation, why they need an affiliated college is because it adds a lot of credibility, because all these awards are very global and they create an outreach like for the society in itself, right? And they need to identify right people and then give it to them. So that's
It's a
why
big
they
recognition.
it's always add to the credibility. So that's why they always ask for affiliated colleges, because that makes a lot more quite easy for them to recognize and find out, right? But there are scholarships or awards or things which are not dependent on the college affiliation, right? I think there are some things which are open for people independently, separately. You applied as a person already. Like for example, I can give you an example. Okay, so for the educator award which I applied, the final one which I went to Canada, I didn't have any affiliation. I applied as myself, right? The nominee is myself. It's not like I have to be affiliated with some organization, something like that. Just for my work, I've been doing it. Versus if I apply for the Richard E. Mervyn scholarship, then I required a letter of I required a letter from my institution saying that this specific student is studying in this college. Okay, so there's differences. You can always find out opportunities which are which you can open on your own, right? You don't need to mention your college, but for a student level, they always ask for your college, institution, all these things. But in case if the affiliation is not there for a certain reason, you can even write to the committee, right? All these things are run by volunteers. Again, the committee, I'm talking at a global level, right? And they'll be more than happy and kind enough to respond to you. Like you can tell them this is the specific reason why we didn't have that, and then they'll be more than happy and kind to help you. So it's not something that's set on stone, but again, as I told you, that's a purpose of why they always want that.
Yes. I think there's one more thing that we need to address. Talking about grants, because we also have faculty members and branch counselors. So
Nice.
how does a student branch obtain grants, or maybe let's say for a particular activity, like we are going to organize a big humanitarian event and we need some amount of funds. So how do you approach that?
Okay. So I'll talk a bit about IEEE structure in general, right? Now, because you asked the funding question, it's very important that where this funding comes from. This is very similar to how we approach a government. Okay, for some you can ask from a local assembly. For some, you have to go to the central government. So that's how it is. So I'll talk about a bit about IEEE structure, but don't get overrun by it. But this would be a very important information that could really help you. Okay, so IEEE there's some structure. Okay, let me talk about the basic ones. You are part of a student branch. All right, that's a section to it. You actually technically come under a section. Like for example, I think in Madhya Pradesh, you guys come under
Bombay section.
Bombay section.
Bombay.
That's wonderful, right? Yeah. And then these sections always technically report to regions,
Yeah.
right? The Asia Pacific region. There's always a sub. There's also a sub. Under that they also have council. So India has a council. So India council can also be a support. But sections technically report to regions. All right. And then above that there is the regions. All the regions report to the MGA. Okay, which is the membership and geographic activities. Okay, if you really look at it, this is for either two things. One is membership development or membership engagement, like all the activities that we do, right? Technically come under these things. Similar to MGA as a board, membership and geographic activities as a board, there is also a specific board called as for technical activities, like technical activities board, also known as TAB. All the 39 societies which I was talking about, right? All these societies come under the TAB. Now, the interesting thing is MGA and TAB also work together. Like for example, your student branch can start a professional student chapter. Your section can start a professional chapter. Did you get what I'm saying? So you always work together. So that's tab. The third thing is there are there are 6 to 7 boards, but I'll talk very specific to what is relevant for us, right? There's also another specific board about educational activities. All right, that's another thing about I think research and publication. So there's so many different things. Okay, but the one I would definitely ask you, in case if you're applying for funding, is to look at these two things. Look at MGA. Look at the tab. Okay. So the interesting thing is, let's say you want to do an activity at a student branch. Let's say a leadership activity. Okay. The first thing is, if it is, I would recommend if it is a managerial, if it goes more of a, not all the events are like, you can't say it's a 0 or a 1, right? It's not a technical or a man. It's always mixed, right? If you see good amount of percentage going into leadership, I would encourage you to look at in this, like this kind of boards, MGA boards. Like for example, you can ask funding from the section. Think of ask funding from your region. Think of asking funding from the MGA. Like there are some established programs too. Like for example, SPAC, Student Professional Awareness Conference, is an established funding that can provide you funding up to $500 for a leadership event. This is for a student branch. You can apply for it. You can get it. I know so many, I think 10 to 12 student branches in my experience of IEEE itself, they applied for it and then they got it, they hosted it, right? I'm also, in case if you're applying, I'm also happy to help you out. I'm saying that. So because we did so much of SPAC events in the previous days, now I get very excited about it. So that's with the MGA, right? I'm just giving you an example. Let's say you want to do purely technical event, like for example, something that's related to computer study. Now, what I would recommend you is to look at the tab lens. Okay. Think of when you look at the tab lens, also look at, do you have a chapter of that specific society, right? Try to go in that specific level. If you have a chapter, try to apply for some seed grant funding. Try to apply for some, like for example, Computer Society has a seed grant funding of $150, right? As you start every year of activities, you can apply for this funding, telling that these are the activities that we did in the last year. Okay, so this is how it is helpful. So similar to that, try to do that tab lens if you are looking for a technical activity. Let's say you want to do an educational activity, like for example, TISP program, Teacher in Service program, which is a program for teaching or engaging pre-university teachers, like school teachers, telling them what are the activities that they can do. Like TISP activities are always there, so you can apply for the TISP funding. IEEE provides up to $200. That's the usual amount, but I think this year they are also changing it at a regional level. So you can also, so every region also has all these societies. There's a person who coordinates societies. There's a person who coordinates educational activities. So it's more of a row and column structure, where you can find every people at a different level, right? Every entity has a different level. So you have so much of opportunities. Just write to people. First, go check out the website. What are the opportunities available? You'll be able to find a lot of information. In case if you didn't, write to the person, write to the volunteer, ask them if they could support, right? And always people look out for some place where they can host events, organize activities. They look out for enthusiastic volunteers, right? It's a volunteer-run society again. So leverage that opportunity. Write to them. Try to write a good proposal, send it to them. They should be able to fund you. So I think that's a long explanation, but I think that was helpful. Yeah.
Okay. I think we can summarize it in just 30 seconds. We have tab and MGA at the top, and they deal with the technical and the managerial activities. Then we have a structure at the down.
I would say membership activities, not managerial as in membership activities.
Yeah. And then we have the regions. So like India comes under region 10, I suppose. And then we have under regions, we have the different sections. And under, like we are under the Bombay section. You guys are from Madras section. And then we have different subsections or something like that in that. And then the student branch, which can have their own chapters and societies and stuff.
The reason is you can apply it at any level, right? You can also ask your section for some support. They would be able to do that. So it always depends on what's the level you're thinking and also what's the scale you're thinking into, right?
Okay. So I think we have answered a lot of queries and on very different aspects of grants and funding and research. So I'm sure a lot of our participants would be thrilled and we'd have very enthusiastic volunteers now. I would also like to inform our participants, the members, that there is a VOLT program. If you're knowing about it, it's about the volunteering aspects, and it's a new program in which you'll be trained for volunteering, and it would be a global recognition. You'll have a group of volunteers. So do check it out. It is there on the IEEE site, and do apply for it if you can. So always look for opportunities. And to I think this brings us to the end of our session. And I would like to thank you again, sir, for such a wonderful start, such a wonderful session, I would say, because it was so interactive. And I'm sure our participants would be like thrilled to know more about the awards, and we'd have a lot of award winners, I suppose, attending this session. And then uh, to sum it up, yesterday I think we had the National Science Day after the great scientist C.V. Raman, and one of the beautiful things that he believed in was that if you empower students with education, with motivation, and to be specific, with scholarships in this case, then we'd have great future leaders who are ready to change the face of tomorrow. So on this note, I would like to end our session. Thank you so much to all the participants who were so supportive, so interactive. Thank you so much to the team, and thank you, sir, for spending your time and sharing your words.
And thank you, Piyush, for wonderfully moderating. It is quite amazing. Congratulations to IEEE AITR Student Branch for getting this started. I'm sure you have so many amazing speakers coming up. So enjoy the experience, and all the very, very best to all the participants. Keep going, just keep trying. Yeah. So,
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.